when we figure out the universe's origin, it is very important for us to have the correct understanding of time, because now at the universe's origin the time is completely different, and we must think that how can we go to the universe's origins time, how can we really understand the universe's origins time living in a different time frame, living on earth. The earth's time frame is completely different from the universe's origins time. If we understand the time on earth correctly, if we have the correct understanding, then only we can go to the universe's origin, and we can go to the eternal existence where the time doesn't elapse. So we have to figure out the elapsing time, non-existing time on earth first of all. Now let us go to the scientist explanations in physics about the earth time. The scientists say that the elliptical orbit of the earth around the sun represents the time, because when the earth revolves around the sun along this orbit, yearly the plants grow taller, bigger, the beings also grow taller and bigger, the plants die and the beings also die. So those changes will occur. Then that means the time, the beings and plants, the times of beings and plants increase every year. So therefore they think that as the earth rotates around the elliptical orbit, they think so that orbit represents the time. Now for when it comes to beings, we clearly see that they grow older, they grow taller, bigger. There's a growth in beings and plants. That means the time increases in within them. The time is included in their existence, in the existence of plants and beings, and the time increases. So they grow taller, bigger, they grow younger, and they die also after some time. And then we, if this is representing the time, then we must check whether this orbit represents that increase in time. Now, in physics, how this orbit is explained. Now let's say in 2024, according to physics, in 2024, let's say the Earth's rotation starts here to orbit around the sun, January, February, then it goes round the orbit around the sun, and then it comes to the point where it started. Right? So now when it completes 2024, then when it comes to January 2025, the Earth comes to the same point where it started on the elliptical orbit. Then in 2025 also, the Earth goes round the same orbit. It comes to the point where it started every year. Then again this January, February, because it's going along the same orbit, that means it passes same January, February, March. So it passes the same months because the same orbit. Then the problem is if it passes the same months, same time intervals, then same changes must occur on plants and beings. If within 1 year, the plants and beings undergo, let's say they undergo some sort of changes, right? So they increase the height, both plants and beings, let's say they increase the height to some extent, let's say by 2 centimeters. Then so that is happening within this 12 months when it orbits around the sun in 1 year. Then if it the plants grow taller in the next year in 2025. But how is that increase in time, increase in height? Because of the increase in time, the height increases because the time increases. So then if this orbit represents the time, then this orbit also has to increase, has to show some growth in some way, in a certain way. But according to their explanation, this doesn't show any growth. It goes around the same orbit every year. It comes to the point, same point, January 1st every year, on January 1st. Then the same changes have to take place. But plants and beings behave differently. So keeping, now the scientists have introduced the space-time curve, thinking that they introduced the space-time curve to explain this elliptical orbit, to explain the curvature, the curving time, because they think that this is the time. So keeping that in mind, that this is representing the time and this is curved, and having that in mind only, they try to introduce a model using the space-time curve proof. There they have gone wrong in the proof. If the same time cycle occurs every year, then the plants will have to remain the same height even though the years pass. 2022, the same cycle, because there can't be 2 years then. If there has to be 2 years, then the curve, if the time is, this curve represents the time, then the curve cannot be the same. The elliptical orbit cannot be the same every year. So if it is the same orbit every year, then every year the plants will be at the same height. They cannot show any leafing out. They cannot show the growth. They will not be flowering, and they will not be dying. They will be at the same, they will be showing the same amount of growth every year. And children cannot grow bigger. The children cannot become a teenager. Then teenagers will not go to younger, and younger people never grow older. Older people will not die, because the same cycle happens every year. Because then the plants and beings will not experience any difference. For them to grow, they should experience changes yearly. So this has to represent then yearly changes. So there is a problem here. Therefore, now we need to have the correct, we need to figure out the correct orbit of the earth around the sun. So according to the scientists, if the elliptical orbit represents the time, and that that must give the same time to all countries around the world. But we see different time zones. And so we need to think something beyond their explanations. And also, if this is giving now, let's say this year, this curve gives 500 years. This curve represents the time 500 years. Then, if a child is born today, that child also will be 500 years. If any plants grow, then that also should be 500-year old. Because this is only giving the time. But that's not happening on earth. Different plants, beings, different countries have different times. So that means there is something beyond that affects on the time on earth. So that is what we need to search for. We need to explore. Then only we can realize the time, the true time on earth. And when we understand the correct time on earth, how to figure out the time on earth, then only we can do the time traveling. Because if we think that this is giving the time, this curve gives us the time, then we are bound to this time only. We will not be able to go beyond this. There is something else that affects on the time on earth, that affects the elliptical orbit of the earth. So that is what we need to explore. Then the correct earth's orbit has to be, it has to change yearly. It cannot be the same curve every year. So for the January is to be added up, February is March to be added up, and to increase the years one by one. Then the curve, elliptical orbit of 2024, end of 2024 shouldn't come to the same point in January 1st, 2025. It has to go to a different point, new point. It has to start the rotation around the sun. The earth has to start the rotation around the sun in 2025 from a new point. And then only it goes along a new elliptical orbit, which represents different changes on plants and beings. So then only the plants grow taller. Plants grow taller and bigger. The plants will start flowering, and we can see leafing out. Then plants can give out fruits. The people, the human beings grow older and they die. Because now you know that we have learnt in science the process of photosynthesis. When the photosynthesis process takes place, the plants take in light energy, the light. And I've explained previously in the absolute definitions of light, mass and time. We introduced that time is a framework and it cannot make itself visible. The light has to bring time. Light brings the time, makes the time visible. So when we receive light, it comes along with time. It comes by carrying the time also. So light comes with time. Light brings us time. Therefore, the plants and also for beings, as the sun rises, the light brings us time. That means all the time is included. Time is the beings and plants are made out of time. right? So that time has to be included in the beings and plants. That is why as the time elapses yearly, as the years increase, that is why the plants and beings grow taller, bigger, they undergo various changes. Because time is affecting their lives. Time comes with light. So now you see the things what we introduced, define at the beginning, are now proving. So there's no contradiction. When we define the absolute time, light and mass, anybody may be confused that how can we are made out of time, light, mass. Of course we can accept to some extent, but out of time and light. So now we have explained that also. Then the earth has to go in a spiral path yearly. And how does that happen? Who introduced, who has established this methodology for the earth to rotate different along different elliptical paths yearly? So that is how the earth's rotation is linked with the universe's origin, the universal sciences. The earth's rotation is not an isolated event. The sun and earth are also not isolated creations. There is an origin for everything. There is a mechanism that controls all those creations' existence. So when the January, February, March, every year are added up together, then the Earth's orbits also should be added up one by one. So then here 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. The elliptical orbit also grows up, grows, and 2024, 2025, 6, 7, like that. That also shows the increase in time, growing in time. So here I've shown that 2024 plus 1, 2025. So January 1, January 2, February 1, February 2, March 1, March 2, like that. We can add up the times, and the addition of time is also represented by the elliptical orbits. We can explore the Earth's orbit further by going to its origination. What makes the Earth orbit around the Sun? We have to think about that also, because we don't see any person or any other force makes the Earth rotate along an elliptical orbit. What happens here is we need to now, as I mentioned previously, also the Earth's rotation and the Earth and the Sun, all those are not isolated creations. So all those started to create from the universe's origin. Hence now let us try to understand how it has come from the universe's origin, force cube, and then the universe established the universal sciences through its immense wisdom. The universal sciences represent the creations, the sciences of creating teeth, creating male-female forces, and the smiling is also a science at the universe's origin, and the creating the sun, moon, creating the world, all these are universal sciences. Then these sciences are used, the universe uses these sciences when creating the suns in the Trisahasri world. Now, after the universal sciences, you know that the beings live in infinite immortal planes by existing as a science. Those the beings in immortal planes, they exist as science, as forces. Those beings are non-physical. Those beings as well as the plants are non-physical creations. And after that, when the creations come to the worlds based on matter and mind, after the creation of space, now up to the universal sciences, up to the immortal planes, there's no space created in the universe. Everything happened in a vacuum. Then after that, the space is created, then the mind originated, and also everything comes to the creations take place in 3 Sahasri world, consisted of 1 into 10 to the power 9 suns. Then how these suns are created? When the first sun is created by using all these universal sciences. You must be wondering whether you will definitely get confused how a set of sciences can create a sun. Because now when creating a sun, we can think of when we are creating a sun, it needs to have it must be made out of matter, and also it should have some thickness, and it should have round shape, it should rotate, and also it needs to it should be able to produce heat energy and to radiate heat energy. And there has to be a mechanism, process, or some methodology to produce heat energy. And all those things, all those functions and characteristics, it must have a certain density. All those characteristics come from some fixed methodology, some fixed wisdom, with universal wisdom. Then it must have some now we know the sun has a thickness, it has a density, then density has to be created. Density has to be created means it should be made out of some layers. One layer, the first layer, second layer, like that. Then when the layers are filed up, then the density is created. So then mass is created like that. So those things are happening according to the universal sciences. All these universal sciences are established on the first sun. So then after that there's a set of world created based on this sun, and after that, not only that, after that another sun is also created, and there is a space between the first sun and the second one in the 3 Sahasri world, the biggest world, and in that space, in the space between the two suns, topmost two suns, when the second sun is created, the second sun also has all these universal sciences. Then that means now, and also the first sun is connected to the second sun. How does that happen? Because the universal sciences are acting over the space in order to create the second sun. So in the space, the universal sciences are acting in the space between the two suns. That is the link. Now, when we look at the space, we don't see anything. but everything exists there in the space. The space is the place where everything exists, even though we cannot see. So everything is linked to, every sun is linked to the other sun through universal sciences. So when from this sun to this sun, all these universal sciences are connected. Suns are connected through the universal sciences. And similarly, when it goes to the other sun, also the universal sciences, that means the universal sciences between the first and second suns bring all these universal sciences plus the knowledge of these two suns when creating the third one. That means the third sun is affected by these two suns as well. Not only that, the third sun, the existence of the third sun in the three Sahasri world is affected by universal's origin, because the topmost sun is affected by the universal's origin, force, cube and universal sciences. Then this set of universal wisdom plus the wisdom of creating the first sun is given to the second sun, and that entire thing is given to the third sun through the space. The space builds up the connection. Then likewise, within the spaces between 1 into 10 to the power 9 suns, all these universal sciences are functioning. The methodology, universal sciences are a set of methodology, theories. So according to those theories, the whole universe is existing. The processes in the universe take place. Then when it comes to our sun in the Sahasri world, we live in Sahasri world. When it comes to our sun, this gains the universal wisdom from the origin by carrying all these, the wisdom of all these suns, the information of all these suns. Then the universal sciences make the earth to rotate around the sun. Further I can explain the human brain or the wisdom. Human brain or the wisdom comes from universal's origin. It comes from the universal's origin up to the earth, up to the beings live on earth, by carrying all these universal sciences and the information of all these suns, the connections of all these suns to us. Then the human brain contains the wisdom to rotate the earth around the sun. That means, in other words, the human brain rotates the earth. That's unbelievable. No wonder. How can the human brain rotate such a big planet Earth, heavy planet Earth, around the sun? It's a methodology, the wisdom. According to that wisdom only, this rotation takes place. And that is why this rotation is not an isolated event. The earth is not an isolated creation. The sun is not, our sun is not an isolated creation. Previously now, up to immortal planes, the worlds didn't rotate around the sun. the beings lived forever. They live forever. The plants never die. Plants do not grow. The universe creates plants in their full growth. Beings are also created in their full growth. They don't have egoism. Those beings were the most powerful beings in the universe. According to evolution theory, scientists say that we were originated from small bacteria or tiny creature or monkey. Then after that only we developed. But at the universes, according to the origin of the universe and universal sciences that we introduce, starting from the universe's origin, the beings at the origin of the universe were the most powerful. They didn't have any egoism, so they were able to go from one world to another world. As they think that, as they feel like they must go to another world, they can easily go like by walking, by stepping from one world to another world. So that much powerful beings live at the universe, in the universe at the beginning. Then after that, when it comes to Three Sahasri world, the mind started to function. Then the human beings have egoism, and they didn't want to go from the world, from their world to another world because of the egoism. So as a result, then because of the egoism, the people, the human beings used to do bad things to others. Then due to their bad behavior, the universe created other worlds for them. Then they have to go to those worlds, but they don't want to go. They don't like to go. They just want to stick to the earth. So that is why the universe established the rotation. When the rotation takes place, the earth, the planet orbit around the sun, and then the time is originated, the elapsing time. As the earth rotates around the sun, after that only the time originated due to that. And then as the time elapses, that time is within the human brain. So all beings experience that increase in time, elapsing time. Then they grow up and they become older, and then they die. So death is a creation. The universe has established the death. It's a methodology, mechanism for the beings to be sent to other worlds. And then only earth can create space, enough space for the other beings to, then only there will be space created for the beings, for the new beings to come to the earth. That is how the universe has established the mechanism for death. Then finally we can conclude that this is the elliptical orbit doesn't represent the time, it's representing the curve of death. It's not the curve of time, it's the curve of death. And also as as the earth goes from one elliptical orbit to another elliptical orbit every end of every year, we cannot say that it goes from one time to another time, but we can say that it goes from one universal science to another universal science. That is how actually we can conclude that I'll explain this further. This content is so profound, and sometimes you might think that this is some ordinary content. There is nothing deep in this. This is not profound at all. But this is how we figure out the time on earth, and the truth of the time that we experience on earth. Then when we know the truth of our time, then only we can go to the universe's origin, the eternal, the everlasting time. Because we have to clearly understand this time. When you understand only, you know, you will come to know about its mystery, the illusion of it. Then you can go to the ultimate truth. I can tell you that now you also can try. Now I am teaching this content, and you also have learned a lot about the Earth's rotation. You may have done lots of questions, solved problems for this curve, and I also have done, because I am a physical science graduate. I have done physics for my general degree, and when I was studying for A-levels, I've done a lot of sums for the Earth's rotation, for the elliptical orbit. But actually, I didn't feel anything within me when I was doing those calculations. But when I came to this and I go through this and I absorb this, then only I also really understood that this is the truth. And I was also at the beginning not able to grab this content, not able to capture this easily, because this is so deep and so profound. It doesn't look like that, but it is. When you all are studying this, don't just blindly go through this content and just give up. You come into this and check whether this content is correct or not, true or fake. I can give you a small suggestion that how do you figure this out, how do you test it. I have given this content, so you study this and you try to teach. Now we can easily teach the calculations, we can easily teach the equations for the elliptical orbit, can find the time period, those things also, and the speed of Earth rotation. All those calculations we can do. But here there is no such calculations, no mathematical equations. So you can try to arrange this content and you try to teach this by yourself. Then you will really understand that what your capacity is. Even though you have applied advanced mathematics, you may have proved the equations, the inverse square law and all we used to prove, and we do a lot of calculations also using that. Then when you try to teach this content by yourself, then you will really understand what I am telling. Whether this is the ultimate truth, or whether you will really feel this content than what you just did some calculations with those mathematical equations. So that is the validation. That is the validation of the truthfulness of this content. This is the ultimate truth. There is no truth beyond that. So that is why from the beginning itself I am telling you all to explore. This content is not to nurture. You explore, come into this and try to absorb and try to teach it. Then you will really understand how can you arrange the content according to the order. Right, and then after that I have to explain how now this is for yearly changes. Then we have to teach about the changes daily when the earth orbits along this elliptical orbit. How does it orbit around the sun? So that also in that also there are a lot of misconceptions, because now if you really figure out this, experience this content, then only you can go to the universe. This is the universal, this opens a universal gateway for everyone. No mathematical constraints. It's the wisdom. So I'm 100% sure that this opens the universe's gateway to all of you. See you in our next new video. Thank you.